Hello everyone and welcome to the February 2021 SEO Newsletter. Grab a nice warm sandwich, we've got plenty to cover, so stick around, let's dive in. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. So today we have a ton to go over with the SEO Newsletter, so I'm just going to kind of pick and choose some of the good stuff because a lot has happened. First off, with 2021, I just want to say Cowabundant has won 4 awards already, which is just awesome. We've won awards from SEOblog.com, Digital.com, awarded us Best Agency in 2021. We've also got an award from Expertise.com and UpCity. So we are just elated, just so happy to have won those awards. And big kudos and thanks to our clients as well, who shout out to Julie, who sent a nice little gift bag for us. That was so sweet, and we really like that. So this has been a big month for Cowabundant already, with January and February. So we're so excited because of the things that have happened with the awards. That is fantastic. We also helped one of the largest Midwest urgent care providers get sold to another company, which is amazing. They've had great growth, and we were able to help them on that journey the last 2 years. So we're so happy about that. That is just fantastic to see that happen. That is what we want to happen. We want our clients to grow, to do what they want to do and fulfill their dreams. So that is fantastic. And now we also had a lot of success with SEO campaigns. We had a customer increase their traffic 332% since they started SEO, which is amazing. We've also managed to increase our revenue at the company for the 3rd year in a row. So this is incredible. Actually, I might have to check that if it's been 3 or 4. It's great to be working. We're just so busy at things. So yeah, that's just fantastic. We look forward to 2021 and all the exciting things to come about that. We're going to have news also about expansion coming up. So we're very excited. Cowabundant is hiring, which is awesome. So if you've got SEO or Google Ads chops, then send us your info at support@cowabundant.com. So you can check that out. So this is the newsletter. We do this every single month, and that was some of the exciting things. I just kind of want to go over some of the questions. Now, again, there's so much to cover that I'm just going to kind of pick and choose pieces, I guess. But what we have here are some client questions about basically things that happened with regard to SEO and all that good stuff. So right now, what I want to look at are some of the client questions, and some of the questions are about, geofencing and ad targets with Google Ads. We had questions about how Google Ads targets customers. Very interesting there. Like, how do they actually figure out household income? Is it, national? Is it local? Is it all over the world? Do they know what the household income is in, Singapore and other places? So that was a great question. We got answers for that. We also have a question about Google flagging images on ads, and how do I target specific people on Facebook? So all great questions. And then we also had a very good funny memes and stuff like that, which we go over this month. So do check out those memes. Those are always great. We love them. They're fun. They're about, web developers. And I was actually followed this month by Jerry A. Seinfeld, which claimed to be Jerry Seinfeld, but it wasn't. I was for like half a second very excited because I thought Jerry Seinfeld followed me, but he has way better things to do, I'm sure. What? Then follow Cowabundant? No way. So yeah, that is always good. Check out the Jason Barger podcast. That is happening this month. We've tackled a lot of really good topics and issues on that podcast. I'm really proud to be a part of it. It's about leadership, business culture, all kinds of cool stuff there. So check it out. This month, we sponsored a charity, and this month we're doing Mid-Ohio Foodbank. So we encourage you to donate to Mid-Ohio Foodbank as we did. We made a donation, and we always want anybody who follows us or anything to make a donation. If you do, leave a comment below. That would be awesome, saying that you did, because it's so important to do that. I know I have clients and other people that help out there, so that is always awesome to do. This month, there was a Google update for healthcare websites in January of 2021. Google Ads also updated its policies for certain medical ads, making it easier to advertise using previously banned keywords. Google does this sometimes. While you can't actually put the keyword in your ad, you can have it on your website, which is good. It used to actually scrub that, so you couldn't even have it on your website. There's some interesting stuff about IDFA, which is basically about mobile tracking and how cell phones are tracked using a mobile identifier. Basically, every single cell phone has a mobile ID, and it's for advertisers to track your phone. You can limit the tracking in your settings if you want to. iPhone basically by default turns it off, and that's kind of what Facebook was freaking out about, because they use that a lot of times to reach advertisers or advertisers to reach customers. So they put out a full page ad in Wall Street Journal, New York Times. I mean, they spent a lot of money to do that, and they were basically freaking out about that. So just kind of interesting there. There was a pro tip as well. That's basically if PPP loans are available to businesses that reported 20% losses or more in 2020. So take a look at those forgivable loan options at your bank. You can talk about. So some of these questions, there's so many questions, but I want to try and maybe go over a few. So how can I geofence ad targets with Google Ads? This question is basically talking about geofencing and how can I do that? Well, there's certain companies that do that. And in fact, Google Ads used to geofence. Years ago, they actually did this, and you can see it here. You were actually able to draw like a polygon of where you wanted to target. They took it off because I don't think it was necessarily a privacy concern, but there were some issues with accuracy maybe at that time, and they turned it off. I'm not sure exactly all the details of why they turned it off, but they did actually have that ability to trace around a location. But now there's companies that do that. Some start at $1,700 per month, a contract based for a year to do that. So it is pretty expensive, but it's something that's kind of cool that you can like geofence around like grocery stores, around, locations that your customers might go to. So that's kind of neat. The next question is, we are running two similar campaigns, companies with ad campaigns. How do we limit or not compete against ourselves? So keywords are a great way to do that. You can use keywords to limit. You can be specific in your audiences. Keywords, again, are a really good way to differentiate. Make sure you have specific keywords matching like commercial or residential or home or that kind of stuff to differentiate it. And if you're eligible for customer match, you can actually upload emails to target audiences. That's a little rare. That's for bigger campaigns, though. There's certainly other ways to focus on that using some of those methods I mentioned. Audiences specifically are one of the good ways to do that, and keywords would be the best way. Number 3, what is reasonable, attainable year-over-year increase in traffic? So this is a really good question. What's year-over-year increase? Basically, it varies by industry, but generally they say 10 to 20% year-over-year is a realistic number. And you sometimes can get 30% plus is possible with like good SEO, more blogging, promoting in like social media, all that good stuff. So that's kind of a general guide, 10 to 20%, basically. 20% sometimes can even be high, depends on your industry. All right, next one. What's the difference between meta titles and descriptions and actual page titles and descriptions? Good question. So meta titles are on the back end of your website, and they're like SEO, the SEO data of what Google sees, or anything meta titles, meta descriptions, SEO wise, is about what Google sees. And then the actual page titles are, the page titles. The descriptions, there's not so much a description for a page. Google might just take that from a page. But if you have a plugin like Yoast or something else, that's where that meta description comes from. Number 5, this was a very interesting question. This was about household income and how it's calculated by Google across the USA. Does it only factor in the USA? And Google actually responded to me on this. It's actually global. They actually do household income globally, which is pretty amazing for certain segments in certain places in the world. It's not every single place, but there's some decent sized countries as well as US. Now, the US data is probably the best for household income. UK is also good, but there is also in different campaigns household income data for Australia, Brazil, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand, South Korea, Singapore, Thailand, and the United States. So there's a lot of information that it takes into account, and what they actually said was Google's household income targeting feature uses a combination of location data and behavioral signals to predict a likely U.S. household income range. So it uses location data and behavioral signals to predict the income range. We determine if a user is likely to be in a household income range using location data and aggregated behavioral signals. The prediction uses the same kinds of behavioral signals like website visits as Google affinity and in-market segment data. So there's a lot to read in there, but it basically is saying they're using a lot of AI, a lot of guesswork as well to try and understand what the income is when targeting. And they're getting much better at it. Years ago, horrible, not very good at all. Now, I'd say it's more accurate than it had been in the past. And I think they'll get even better in the future too. That is a really good question though. Next question. Why would Google flag images that were previously approved? Google uses automation to flag ads. So like during the pandemic, there's been a bunch of issues, less manual power for review. And they're working constantly to update and improve this. So the best way is to talk with a Google rep and try and override that or appeal a decision that might have happened. But yeah, it's automated. So sometimes they mess up. I had an image for a client that was a woman that was like a stock image with a woman with like a sheet kind of flowing, and it was, beautiful image, but it flagged it as like nudity, even though it wasn't at all. So it gets it wrong sometimes. And then you have to appeal. Sometimes it's easier to just change the image, just replace it, because that's often a better way to go about it. The last question is about Facebook and how do I target specific people on Facebook? So Facebook offers a bunch of targeting options to use, from profile information, their friends, their posts, groups they follow. The best advice is to think about how Facebook looks at a customer. It would, consider a group of people sharing likes or interests. Like, think about how Facebook thinks about the customer, which is, it's all about likes and what they like, how they use Facebook. People like stuff, and they consider a customer as how they interact with the world they live in terms of brands. That's how Facebook thinks about a human, right? Okay, so weird, but that's how it is. In terms of location, though, Facebook has a minimum of 10-mile radius. So it's not that hyper local. So it's good for brands. It's good for national, regional stuff. It's not as good for like necessarily local brands. So that's something to be aware of. You might want to try other things. But it's good for brand awareness usually, more than like deep channel funnel activity or sales. So, hopefully this was helpful. This was informative. If you have any comments or questions, please leave your notes below. comment below. Like and subscribe. It helps the channel. Remember to donate to Mid-Ohio Foodbank this month. And be well, be safe. See you next time. Bye.